So the common advice that you get as a high schooler, college student who's trying to make their way, or anytime you listen to the cookie cutter motivational speakers or the mentors or whatever it is, you hear the same advice. It's do what you love. Find something that you're passionate about and chase it and go after it. Because if you're passionate about it, you can work so hard and you'll love what you're doing and you'll get really good at it and you'll win. And I've thought about it. I've discussed this with some smart people. I've read a lot of people who disagree with me on the subject. And I gotta say, I still feel very strongly that that's bullshit advice. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I feel that making emotional decisions, as you know me, I think making emotional decisions, making selfish decisions is not the way to win at all. And doing what you love and doing what makes you happy is a very selfish way to go about a career. Because the truth is that a career it's just like a series of games. A career is just like a series of games. The key to winning is taking a step back. And when you think about a series of games, you're thinking each job you do, each phase of your career, each career shift that you make, each one of those is a game. What does it take to win that game? Now, the key to winning is taking a step back very early on in your career. Taking a step back and figuring out what game to play. Figuring out what game to play, what game is worth playing and what game is not worth playing. Because I wholeheartedly believe that too many people play the wrong games with the wrong people, with stiff competition and shitty prizes, and then they wonder why it's hard as hell to get ahead. More people should focus on figuring out what games are worth playing. Now, how do you assess what games are worth playing? And it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to do what makes you happy as a job or help other people or whatever it may be, that, I'm not the guy to listen to. My goal is gain financial independence so that I don't have to work for anybody, so I don't have to answer to anybody, and I can have passive income and I can be financially free so I can spend my time doing what I want to do. That's my goal. Spend my time doing what I want to be doing. Now, if that's your goal, then you can ask yourself a series of questions. The first one, is this game that I'm going to embark on, that I'm going to go down, is it fun to play? And if the answer is yes, that it's fun to play, then it's going to be a shitty decision to go after that game. Because if it's fun for you, it's fun for other people. It's going to draw in a lot of passionate people who love what they're doing. And they're not in it for the money. They're in it because it's fun. And they're going to keep doing it because it's fun. They're passionate about it because it's fun. And if you like it and you enjoy it, then other people are going to like it and they're going to enjoy it too. Very highly unlikely that it adds value to other people who will exchange you for money. It's mostly a selfish way to look at a career. If it's fun to do, if you're passionate about it, it's a selfish way to look at a career and it's not the way to succeed, in my opinion. Now, the next question you need to ask, how good do you need to be to win the game? When you're about to embark on to take over a job, when you're about to start a business, when you're deciding what business to start, how good do I need to be to win this game? What percentage of people who are playing this game are winning? And how good are those people? Pro sports is one example. 0.05% of people who want to be a professional athlete and try to be a professional athlete actually make good money doing it. On the other end of the spectrum, you have, well, I guess back there with pro sports, you have a lot of these other hobby projects. Now, sweaty startups are on the other end of the spectrum. A lot of dumb people make really good money starting home service businesses or in the real estate game because they're not fun. Nobody's doing lawn care or plumbing or electrical or pressure washing because it's fun. People are doing these things because they're opportunities. The next question you need to ask, what does winning look like? If I'm winning this game, what does it look like? So look at the person in the corner office. Look at your boss or the boss of the boss or somebody that's 15 years ahead of you and has won and has done really well. What are they happy? What's their life like? Are they financially free? Or are they working 70 hours a week, miserable, trading their time for money? Do they enjoy their lives? You need to look at what winning actually looks like. If the person that is where you want to be 15 years from now is not happy, is not financially free, and is miserable, not a game worth playing. Another one to ask, who are you trying to impress? Are you going this direction because society idolizes a certain thing, because your parents want you to do it, because the status signals that you put off for people around you are high and people think you're really awesome if you go after this career? Or are you doing it because it gets you closer to your goals? Another way that you need to separate your emotions, your ego, from what you're trying to accomplish. The ego is the enemy here. The ego is the enemy. Now, what kind of action is rewarded by the game? The game rewards a certain type of action. Is it, I know a lot of people who are getting burnt out in many fields, corporate America, politics, whatever it is, because it's way more about who you know, who you impress, what kind of actions you do to impress other people, the politics of the game, and it's much less about how much value you're adding. Are you good at what you're doing? I have friends in corporate America who bitch to me all the time that they can't get ahead. It's really hard. This person is, playing, they're just, kissing up to the boss and they're throwing other people under the bus and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you're not a politician, maybe you shouldn't be playing that game, because that's how it works. You can either complain about it or you can play the game and you can try to win the game. Don't try to change the rules of your game. You chose the wrong game if that's not for you. Another thing to think about is, do you want it all right now? Now, the people who win, for the most part, are the folks who think 5 years ahead, the folks that delay gratification, the folks that do the sucky work right now so that they can do the fun work or no work at all 5 years later. I'm 10 years in. The first 3 years of my sweaty startup, I was hauling boxes up steps. I didn't make a lot of money. I didn't have financial freedom, but I was putting in the work that it took to succeed. And now, 10 years later, I am where I am. So you are destined to fail no matter what if you want to win right now, because no game worth playing is easy to win. There are no shortcuts. And honestly, I think that's what kicks about 75% of people out of the game, because they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to delay gratification. Another big one, can you avoid the golden handcuffs? And the golden handcuffs are basically when you start earning more money, when you're doing okay, you start spending more money. So you're earning more money, you're working more, and you're spending more. All three of those things lead to one thing, which means you are going to become addicted to that paycheck. You're going to need it just as a drug addict needs a drug. Because if your paycheck stops at any point, you can't make the boat payment, the car payment, the house payment, the motorhome payment, pay for your expensive vacations, pay for your Visa cards, your date nights, all the expensive things that you bought with that job. So what happens is you're stuck. You have absolutely no choice but to continue doing exactly what you're doing. You have no flexibility. You can't get out of it. You can't shift gears. You can't go play a different game because you're trapped. You have golden handcuffs. You're stuck to that job because you made the poor decisions of spending your money in the wrong places. And along that same line, 99% of people spend their earnings, spend their money, say they start making 75, 80, 100, 200 grand a year. 99% of people spend it on more consumables, more things, more fun stuff to give them dopamine hits. Now, 1% of the people who win, they spend their money on assets. They spend the money on things that make them more money. I spent all the money I made on that first self-storage facility that I built. My partner and I built this first self-storage facility. We saved up $500,000. We put it all into this building, and bam, that baby still pays us back about $5,000 each every month. And we've done some cash out refinances. It's been an amazing thing for our financial journey. But 99% of people, they just consume and consume and consume and spend and spend and spend, and they spend it all on liabilities. They spend it all on things that cost money. They don't buy anything that makes them money. So now the big problem with all this, we're all trying to figure out what game to play, what game to win. The big problem here is that most people don't even think about these things. Most people aren't even considering what game they should be playing. They're 17 years old. They're told by the schools to stay the course, to go to college. They're told by the parents to do what you're passionate about, to find something that you love doing. Everybody walks around and says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And that's just not the way to do it, because what a 17-year-old wants to do with their life is very rarely the best opportunity. They don't know. The way that you win is you be an opportunist. The way that you win is you're not tied down to anything. Imagine you're in a forest and there's a bunch of mountains all around you, and you got to figure out what mountain to climb. And one of those mountains is a career. The winners, they'll take a few steps up, 20 different mountains. They'll try out a lot of different things. They'll see where the opportunity is. Maybe it's a service business over here. Maybe it's a plumbing company. Maybe it's to try to become an electrician. Maybe it's, you go work for those jobs. You see what it's like. You look around. Are those people happy? Are they succeeding? How smart are they? How easy is it to climb the mountain? What do the people at the top of the mountain look like? Is that where you want to be? You do an internship. Whatever it may be, you find a way to see in advance what those things are, and you figure out which mountain you want to climb. The real winners, I like to use this kind of cheesy analogy, but the real winners are like water, trying to find the path of least resistance. Hey, what route can I take to success that gives me the best odds of getting there, that has the least amount of resistance? I'm going to be agile. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be changing directions. I'm going to figure out the best thing, and I'm going to go for it. Now, the last thing is the hard part about all this. You could be halfway up a mountain. You could be halfway down a career path, and you're just starting to see that it's not worth it, that the people who are at the end aren't happy, that the money's not going to be there, that you're never going to achieve financial freedom, that you're not going to be able to live the life you want to live on that path. And it's sad. It's a really sad deal. A lot of people are in that boat. And you may be pot committed. You may have a lot of student loans. You may be really close to getting there. Now the key, the hard part, the uncomfortable part of all this is to have the courage and the guts to go climb a different mountain. And the question is always the same: what other mountain do I go after? I may not have another opportunity. And I know it's brutal. This life is not easy. There's no easy way to win. There's no easy way to get financial freedom. Very few people ever do it. So yeah, you got to try to find a better mountain. And sometimes you don't have to jump off one mountain to go to the other. You can start something on the side. You can explore some other opportunities. You can put in some other work to see what it's like in some other areas while you're still committed to one path. You can climb multiple mountains at one time, but it's brutal. It's tough. And what I'm saying right now may hit you like a ton of bricks, because you realize that the path you're down, the winners aren't happy. It's really hard to win. The odds are low. The competition's crazy. You're not willing to play the game, or you're playing the wrong game. And I know it's brutal, but have the courage to make a better life for yourself and get out there and figure out what game you want to play.